no matter the outcome, I won't let my crew down. I think I'm coming up on 6 years now. I was only a teenager when my father died, passing command of the ship to me, as is tradition. Because of that, I've had to sort of learn as I go along, instead of taking years of study and apprenticeship under the prior captain. I think some people on the ship resent me for not having the level of experience as my predecessors. But at the same time, without my command, we likely wouldn't have made it here so quickly. A bit frazzled, as you can imagine. People are anxious about discovering that we're not alone, and also worried about what will come to pass. While we hope we can work out a deal with the people on the surface, they seem reluctant to reach out, so there's no telling what will come of that. I do know that we can't afford to stay here in orbit forever. The ship was built to sustain us for many years with backup provisions just in case, but even that will come to an end eventually. Difficult is the wrong word. It can be both challenging at times and also exciting. Our mission was to rebuild humanity on a distant world, believing that we were Earth's last hope. To think that while there has always been a Brackenridge in the captain's chair, that I am the one to finally oversee our journey's end is truly exhilarating. But with this stumbling block in our path, at this final moment, I fear tough choices will need to be made. Well, as I mentioned, we've been unsuccessful in communications with anyone up until you arrived, though not for lack of trying. But since you're asking, maybe you'd be willing to be a sort of diplomat between us and them as we attempt to resolve our situation. Does that sound agreeable to you? We suspect that our equipment is woefully obsolete compared to whatever you all have now. In all honesty, we never expected to need to communicate with anyone, so our comms aren't particularly robust. That limits our options. We even attempted communicating with lights and sounds, something we saw in an old movie, but I don't believe they picked up on it. If anything, it may have inadvertently alarmed them. I wish I could say that the satisfaction of helping others in need is sufficient, but I'm not getting that impression from you. I'm sure we can pull together some resources equivalent to whatever currency you use these days. We'll do what we can to make it worthwhile. And until then, you're free to make use of whatever facilities you need on our ship. Ah, so they have a name. Paradiso. And it sounds promising that they sent you here to speak with us. You see, we intended to settle here, but we assumed that they intend to defend their claim given their presence here. We'd like you to go speak to them on our behalf and help us negotiate a solution, preferably one that favors us. Based on the data our ancestors had when they launched this endeavor, it was determined that this was the perfect planet for us. Even if we had another viable candidate planet, we lack the resources to get there. And as you know, it took us 200 years to get here. Our people have no desire to go back to drifting the stars so their children's children can possibly settle on an inferior planet. When we left Earth, there were no claims to planets this far out into space. We had assumed that we were the only ones attempting a generational journey such as this, meaning that there would be no need for a formal claims process. Regardless, my ancestor, Rupert Brackenridge, did manage to file a charter for this planet's first colony to be named New Jamestown. According to his records, no one took it seriously when he filed it, so likely it was either ignored or the records were lost to the ages. Given humanity's lack of interest in colonizing the far reaches of space at the time, it shouldn't have been a problem, but again, here we are now. Excellent. Make no mistake, this is our planet, and we intend for them to see this our way. So, speak with their leadership and see if you can negotiate a solution on our behalf. Preferably, get them to see things our way. Report back to me and let me know what they say, and we'll go from there. We thought about it, but it simply won't do. I need to think about the distant future of our people. Sure, our first settlement may be small, but our predecessors dreamt of our new civilization spreading across the globe. That will be difficult if someone else plans to do the same. While we're not completely closed to the idea of sharing, it's much easier if we have complete domain over this world. Thank you, and Godspeed.
Piloting the old Constant has been fun, but I'm looking forward to flying some fancy new ships when this is all over. Hey! So it is true. An actual stranger aboard our ship? Wow. We don't get any. We never expected to meet anyone else traveling the stars. But if you're here, that must mean there are others. Kind of incredible that we never bumped into anyone. Either we took a strange route, or the vastness of space just makes chance encounters unlikely. Maybe some combination of the two. Either way, I'm so relieved to find out that we're not alone out here. Oh, geez. Sorry, of course you don't know my name. We never met. I'm Yue. Wow, I never thought this would happen. Sure. Well, unless there's anything else you want to talk about. It's incredible. I'm pretty excited to meet new people and ask them all sorts of questions. I wonder about all we've missed this whole time while humanity has advanced around us. Oh, I'm the navigation officer, though I switch between nav and piloting. I'll be honest, the ship pretty much flies itself. Its destination hasn't changed since it launched, and we're here now, so I'm not sure what's next. See, the nav system's not perfect. We encounter stuff that our forebears didn't originally count on. Astral bodies, space debris, stuff like that. So sometimes I need to take manual control and get out of tricky situations. Then there was the time I used those unaccounted for anomalies to our advantage. Slingshotted us around a few stars that weren't supposed to be there, saved some fuel, and knocked a few decades off our journey. Pretty incredible stuff. I'll be watching the skies for you.
Just stay out of trouble.
Sure is nice to know there are other people out there.
I know Captain Brackenridge has essentially given you free rein to wander the ship, but security will still be watching you closely. I hope you understand, given we have so little experience with people from the outside. It pays to take security seriously, something I understand much better now than in my youth. I maintain order around here, and I aim to continue that, even in these strange new times. It may surprise you to learn that I didn't. See, in my teenage years, I was quite rebellious. I stole a keycard and used it to get into the reactor. My shenanigans almost led to a total reactor meltdown. Normally, the punishment for such an act would be ejection from the ship. But my parents pleaded with Diana's father, the captain at the time, for leniency. He agreed. After I served time in the brig, he assigned me a job with the security team. I took the lesson to heart and have been taking my job seriously ever since. Agreed. If not for that incident, who knows how it would have ended for me otherwise. Crew management is certainly a tricky endeavor, and it takes a skilled captain to know how to deal with difficult decisions like that. I will always be grateful for how it was handled. I don't have much basis for comparison. People tend to stay in line, but when they don't, I imagine it can be more challenging than out there. We only have a small break. So in the few cases where there was widespread disorder, we needed to improvise. I'm told that has only happened once in our entire history. There was a brief revolt under Captain Brackenridge II when he amended the rationing laws. Prisoners were confined to their quarters. After the trial, the leader of the mutiny was exiled to space. We take security threats very seriously, for obvious reasons. We had time to prepare ourselves since we arrived in orbit around this planet. We knew there was life, and the predominant theory was that it was human life. When you approached, we needed to be careful. Both because you presented a potential threat, but also potential salvation. Plans were in place to deal with both scenarios, and luckily, cooler heads prevailed. Be safe.
We didn't believe anyone would be out here, but I'm glad for it. Don't forget to tell of us in your travels.
Hey! I've lived my entire life in the Constant. I'm not sure how else to live.
We were never trained to address threats coming from outside our ship.
Just because our equipment's old doesn't mean it won't work to take down troublemakers. Never seen a ship like yours before. Then again, I haven't seen any ships before you arrived.
Brackenridge. That sounds so familiar. Something from history slates that I've read. Oh, I feel I should know who this person is, but somehow it's escaped my memory.
Now that we know what's out there, things are going to be more interesting from here on out.
We've got strict rules around here, but they're strict for a reason.
I bet you've been on lots of cool space adventures. Just like in the old movies.
I wonder how many other planets are out there that we can live on. I bet there's 1 million.
So many people out there. I thought we were alone. Hello there. Given that I don't know you, you must be this visitor I've been hearing so much about. I'm Julia, the Constant's chief historian. It's nice to meet you on this momentous occasion. If you ask around, people will either tell you my job is absolutely critical to the mission,
Hey, do you wanna
or
play
I
hide
just
and
hang
seek
out,
later?
read, and watch movies.
No, we've already used up all the good
There's
hiding
more to it
places.
than that.
No, we
Officially,
haven't.
I'm assigned to the
Your
role
one
of
in the
chief
reactor next to the
historian.
reactor. when I went there with
Generations ago, it used to be lawkeeper of humanity, but that seemed a bit too lofty. While I don't think my job is as important as captain, engineering officer, or cultivation manager, it's still vital to our mission. I do. But sometimes it's frustrating to convince some people that my job is important, since it's not directly related to our continued survival. There was a time where I thought my sister was the lucky one, running the hydroponics farm and being responsible for feeding everyone on board. But I grew to like my work, and working with children is nice, especially since I'll never have any of my own. It's okay. I don't mind you asking. I'm actually proud of my choice. It's a great honor to give up one's ability to have a family so that others may. As you can imagine, a population limit is a necessity on board a colony ship. I made my choice long ago to give others the chance to have a larger family should they wish. Though, I suppose I don't need to worry about that now. Maybe it's time to consider it. Of course. Everyone was assigned their roles here. We don't choose our roles, since there are only so many of us, and every job is critical. Someone has to prove themselves either exceptionally bad at their job or exceptionally good at another in order to be moved. But that rarely happens. I run the educational programs aboard the ship for all the children and any adults who are looking to learn about Earth history. We try to have group sessions some evenings where we read old Earth literature, watch old films, listen to music, and the like. So yes, I hang out with children and watch movies, but it's more involved than that. We historians are charged with keeping Earth culture alive so that we never forget where we came from. Thanks for saying so. As chief historian, I can tell you a lot, probably. What do you want to know? ECS stands for Earth Colony Ship. We wanted a fairly inclusive name to represent the planet, and not a particular nation of origin. There was an old colony ship that sailed across the oceans of Earth from a country called England to settle on a new continent. It was called either the Susan or Sarah Constant. No one seems to know for sure. So ours was shortened to just Constant. Ironically enough, that ship also reached what they thought was new land and found it populated when they arrived. As chief historian, I can tell you a lot, probably. What do you want to know? Well, we launched Tuesday, September 27th, 2140. So, about 190 years now. Would have been longer, but it turns out we have an ace navigator who saved us some time with some tricky maneuvers. We're the descendants of wealthy elites, intellectuals, artists, scientists, and others who left Earth in 2040 to spread humanity to the stars. The thinking was that Earth's days were numbered for a variety of reasons. Our finder, Rupert Brackenridge, had the foresight to plan for the worst. Thus, he constructed this colony ship to settle what seemed like the most habitable planet we could find, knowing full well it would take generations to reach. We suspected that we may have been the only ones to leave Earth, given that no one else seemed to have the same idea. I'm glad we appeared to be wrong. You know where to find me if you ever want to know more. Goodbye.
My mom and dad were scared when you came on board, but I don't know why. You seem okay. Hey, Miss Julia? Can we watch that movie with all the superheroes in it again?
We'll see. We have a lot of movies to get through, but maybe during our next group.
Miss Yang said we're experiencing history right now, and that there will be books written about us.
Really?
I'm gonna be in a book. Hey, everyone!
I'm glad you're
Miss
not
Julia
an
said we
alien,
could watch
but
it
that
again.
would have been so cool.
And then maybe we can watch one of the sequels some of... time.
Wait, they made more of them? Oh, I'm so excited I could plot. That's what Mr. Abe says sometimes. He's funny.
Yup, he sure is. Anyway, I think you still have some more schoolwork.
I heard you came from outside the ship. I bet it was pretty cold out there.
Capacitor NCC 1701 is acting up. Again, sir.
Ah, and you said it was going to be a slow day. Someone knows me another half ration.
Yes, sir. You've got it.
I was hoping to talk to our visitor from outer space, and here you are! Welcome, welcome. I have a million burning questions, but I won't overwhelm you. There will be plenty of time for that later. Please, indulge me just a couple. How did you do it? Did humanity finally discover faster than light travel and eclipse our poor old ship? Oh, I've heard of this technology, but always believed it was theoretical in nature. Maybe we can talk about it in more detail later. I'm sure you have more pressing matters to handle. I've waited this long. What's a little longer, eh? Oh, I've got so many questions, but I'm being rude. I haven't even given you my name. Chief Engineer Kazemi, but you can call me Amin. And, I might add, I'm one of the reasons we're still floating out here today. Yes, of course. Anything for my new friend.
Huh, saw Amin in here again. What else does that guy need?
Ah, great question. I do not know for sure, but I can venture a guess. All of the reading I've done on the matter suggests that at the time, there was uncertainty that the technology would ever work, or if it did, that it would work at the scale we needed. So, I trust they made the decision to strike out when they did, fully believing it was the only way.
Not as hard as Amin does.
Sure I do.
Some may say I'm a master of keeping things together with nothing but duct tape and bubblegum. Well, if we had any gum left. Pretty sure that ran out 100 years ago. When I'm not dealing with catastrophic engine failures, I manage the other engineers. We maintain all the machinery, computers, you name it. We keep the life support on, and the ship flying. Many years ago, when I was a junior engineer, the reactor's computer burned out. The computer that controls the reactor's various regulators. I'll spare you the details, but when that happens, the ship and everyone on it is in danger of turning into a mess of hot slag. I had to jury-rig parts from old media devices to prevent a meltdown. And that's how I became the boss around here. Yes, so many! Does everyone have their own spaceships like you? Do people only live on naturally habitable planets, or did they learn to terraform? Are we in contact with alien species? I have so many more, but I don't want to take up all your time. Haha! I knew it! Incredible! Amazing! Simply amazing! In our ancestors' time, only the very wealthy could afford to build ships. Even this ship was only possible by our families pulling together nearly all of their financial resources. I'm not surprised. The amount of energy it would take to terraform an entire planet seems improbable. I can assume these types of colonies are strictly for mining and gathering rare resources, since there are nearly limitless habitable planets to choose from out there. Disappointing, but not unexpected. When you showed up, I tried to tell the others about the Fermi paradox. I suggested that the most likely explanation for you was that humanity had developed faster, more advanced technology and had leapfrogged us. Seems I was right. Ah, thank you for taking the time to talk with me. I can have a bit of a big personality, I'm told. So let me know if I ever get on your nerves. Good luck out there!
Hey there.
I wonder what it's like out there beyond our little community.
Sir, there's a minor issue with the O2 regulator.
Again? Well, fix it, add it to the bill.
Wow. Hi.
Wow. I've heard about you, but oh, here you are.
Keeping track of all our supplies is more difficult than you might think. Hi there. Oh, Nice to meet you. And that's true. As you can imagine, everyone kind of just knows each other around here. Meeting new people isn't really a thing for us. Yeah, I know. It's funny, though. All our lives, nothing could prepare us for this. We were born into a universe where we legitimately thought we were the only people in existence. Anyway, sorry for freezing up before. I just didn't expect our visitor from the outside to stop by and chat with me. I figured, if anything, you'd be with the captain. I'm Daisuke, the ship's provisions manager. I'm not sure what I can offer you, but if I can help, I will. And if not, I'm happy just to talk. We manage. I know back on Earth, there used to be stores all over the place. Some that even specialize in specific types of goods, if you can imagine. But here, this is it. We have very limited supplies. Most of our stuff is recycled. Even the food. In a roundabout way. If you know what I mean. It works out for the most part. Because it has to. You'll sense a running theme with that around here. Not really. Things don't work that way here. It's not a shop like you hear about in the books and movies. Or, where you're probably from. Almost everything is communal or shared in some way, but sometimes people want a little something extra or special for themselves. So when that happens, they come to me. Mostly, I just keep track of the ship's inventory and help ration the supplies so we don't run out. Take care.
So much more to learn about now.
I wonder what else is out there.
We've had to do our fair share of recycling on the Constant. Not exactly a lot of places to get new goods.
Careful waving that fancy gun around. We don't need to see what it can do.